Strategy number 4 is also one where we cheated a little bit and we combined two strategies into one: structure and differentiation. Let's talk about structure first. Considering the structure of your ministry or classroom can greatly benefit your inclusive efforts. When you consider structure, there are a couple different things to think about. First, think about the way that you're structuring your ministries and classrooms, particularly in the way that we design our group work. Are we offering the opportunity for people to participate in large group settings, in small group settings, and also potentially individual settings as well? When considering the need of people with disabilities, all three of these are very important. First, by providing the chance to participate in a large group setting, we are providing a chance to participate in a large group setting. Now, obviously there has been and continues to be tremendous advancements in inclusivity in most places, but we know that it's still not enough. And when you consider children with disabilities, for example, we don't know what their 5 days a week looks like at school, but the opportunity of everyday full inclusion may not be there. For us to provide the opportunity on a Sunday to participate with same-age peers in a large group can be such a welcoming change and exciting opportunity. Secondly, you have to think about the benefits of small group work as well. Again, going back to that Sunday school example, we can break our Sunday school class up into smaller groups for part of the day. We can have one group go over and receive the Bible lesson of the day, and the other group on the other side working on a relevant craft. And then the groups can swap places. This allows us to provide a little more focused attention and instruction to our kids in a smaller group, and you can also divide your group up in a number of different ways. You can divide your groups up based on which kids you know work really well together. You can divide based on relative ability level, and this is something that will go unnoticed because one group is over doing a Bible story and the other group is over on the other side of the room doing crafts. And you can present the Bible story in a different way and present the craft in a different way, modifying it a bit based on ability level, but still share the same overall content. Lastly, sometimes with people with disabilities, we need to consider individual structure or providing one-on-one assistance and focus to those who might need it. This is where we always share with churches that one of the easiest way to provide inclusion is to start a buddy system, a one-on-one buddy system where you have a high school or college student or an adult from the church who is willing and able to go into a Sunday school, youth group, or adult group ministry and serve as a one-on-one buddy for an individual with disabilities who might need some extra supports. Now, this obviously calls for building up a pool of buddies within the church, but once you announce this, you'd be surprised at who comes out of the woodwork, who has experience or a skill set in the area, or who maybe doesn't have experience but just has a heart for it and a willingness to learn. One-on-one buddy systems can be a tremendously impactful church-wide ministry, and we'll touch on these more in the next section of our videos. In any case, some individuals with disabilities may need a one-on-one buddy in order to successfully participate in these large group and small group settings that we're discussing, and that's okay. That's great. That can be accomplished through a one-on-one buddy system. On the flip side, there may be an individual with disabilities whose needs don't require an official one-on-one buddy, but who may need some extra supports or extra reminders every now and then. And if that's the case, instead of a one-on-one buddy, you can strategically pair this person with what's called a model person, or a model child if we're talking about Sunday school again. This is where, if you know that Timmy can sometimes struggle with focus and attention, then during strategic times you're always sitting Timmy next to Samantha, who you know does an excellent job following expectations within the classroom or ministry setting. Timmy then has a front row seat to a very visual representation of positive behavior. And a beautiful thing about the model child approach is that you're not telling Samantha, "Hey Samantha, you're the model child. You're modeling proper behavior for Timmy." No, research shows that it's just a natural response, that when you're strategically pairing one person with another, then Samantha is providing a very visual example to Timmy about expectations. When considering the structure of your classroom or ministry, you must also consider the environment as well. Considering sensory needs can be very important, as we talked about earlier, so being aware of noises, lighting, certain smells, and being proactive in your approach can help ease the sensitivities. Considering the physical layout of your ministry is a needed step too. Making sure that there is room for mobility is important, and making sure that there are different spaces within your ministries, within your classroom, that individuals can go to get a little breather and relax can be important as well. A little spot in the corner with a couple books and a chair, or a sensory table. Incorporating this into your classroom or ministry can be very helpful. Now, all of these pieces, from how to set up a buddy system to how to physically set up a classroom or ministry, are all things that the Elisha Foundation can provide through consultation. Another big part of this consultation when thinking about structure and thinking about inclusion is also the intake forms that you have families fill out. These are just the standard forms that every family fills out to give you more information about their child. Now, you don't have families fill out different intake forms based on whether a disability is present or not. It's the same form because a lot of the information is going to be helpful for you regardless of who the child is. But if you are strategic with your intake form and list out things like what structures best suit your child, what are some things that your child enjoys, and how can we help your child feel the most successful, then you can gather as much important information as you need to start to plan for the structure of your ministry and classroom. At times, we find that some churches may be a bit hesitant to ask these questions and have these conversations with parents. But generally, especially with parents of kids with disabilities, this is not the first time they've had this conversation before. In fact, it's a welcome topic. Think back to our video on hospitality. Parents want us to ask these questions about how we can best support their child. It shows them that we're invested in them. Being aware of the structure of your ministries, as well as the physical layout of your ministries, helps create an environment that everyone can be a part of.